Shorting only works when stocks are overpriced and is needed to bring shares back to fair value. Please comment.
I would agree that, and I think more so now that I mean, obviously I would say this, wouldn't I, because I do practice short selling, but the idea that short selling is somehow sort of immoral and bad and destroys jobs and lives is rubbish. I mean, the short selling, I think, does a decent has a decent role in the market for levelling the playing field against huge vested interests on the buy side and the bull side. I mean, you know, everybody, including the regulators who seem to do nothing about companies committing crimes and misdemeanors, seem to me to be pretty gutless about doing anything. And when I think of companies that have crashed and burnt recently, a lot of that is down to the shorters pointing out that the company is seriously flawed. And I can think of a number of instances where if a short-selling report, say, a la the American-style short report, which we're getting more and more in this country now, hadn't come out, then these companies would still be sailing along blithely, probably raising money from brokers in the city who are quite happy to take their cut and sell these shares to clients. And no, I think short selling does do a service, and you know, fairly loud, you know, kind of shouting from the rooftops when people think there's something wrong with a company is a good thing. I mean, if a short seller says anything false, there are rules against libel and spreading false and misleading information, which are punishable by law. So short sellers have to be very careful that they get their facts right. And if a short seller says something misleading or false about a company, then he's going to be in very serious trouble. And he's often vilified much more for doing that when he's telling the truth than the huge examples of people who present completely false pictures about the financial health of their companies. So in terms of the sort of rubbish talked and written, there is far, far more of it on the long side than the short side. You'll find that most shorters don't just pick targets, you know, off a dartboard. They normally research companies pretty carefully and are fairly careful, despite what people say about what they write or say about a company.